Have you ever really stopped to think about the words we use every single day? We're constantly saying things that aren't literally true, but somehow everyone knows exactly what we mean. It turns out our language is packed with these little secret codes, hiding all this creativity and power, just beneath the surface. Okay, let's dive in and crack some of those codes.
So that really brings us to the biggest question of all, the one that kicks this whole thing off. Do words always mean what they say? Well, the short answer is no, not even close. And understanding why is the key to unlocking a whole new level of how we communicate. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to define what these secret meanings actually are. Then we'll get into the big split between literal and figurative language. After that, we'll unpack the cool stuff, the actual toolkit you use every day, from comparing things to, maybe stretching the truth just a little bit. All right, let's jump right into our first section. We're going to uncover the power of what's called figurative language. This is really where our words get all their color, their punch, and their personality.
So, the official term for all these cool language tricks is a figure of speech. And really, all that means is it's any time we use a word for a special effect, when we step away from its boring dictionary definition. It's basically language at play.
Now, for what is honestly the most important idea in all of this, the huge split between literal and figurative meaning. Once you get this difference, everything else is going to click into place.
Okay, so here's the breakdown. Literal meaning is just what it is. It's the dictionary definition, the straightforward, no-nonsense meaning of a word. But figurative meaning, that's when we take that same word and use it to paint a picture in someone's head, to make them feel something, or to make a clever connection.
And check this out. A single word like wing can do so much work for us. You've got the wing of a bird, the wing of a plane, even the wing of a building. Those are all literal, right? They're physical things. But then you say you're going to spread your wings, or you take someone under your wing, and suddenly you're not talking about a body part anymore. You're using its figurative power to talk about big ideas like freedom and protection.
All right, our first set of tools is all about the art of comparison. This is how we make sense of something new by connecting it to something we already know. It's like a shortcut for our brains. And the two heavy hitters here are, of course, simile and metaphor.
And here is the dead simple difference between the two. A simile is super explicit. It basically waves a flag and tells you, hey, I'm making a comparison by using the words like or as. A metaphor, on the other hand, is way more subtle, more implicit. It doesn't compare, it just says something is something else.
So here's your classic simile. We're not saying Tom has 4 legs and a tail. We're just directly comparing his eating habits to a horse's, using that magic little keyword like. It's totally direct and explicit. But now, look at the metaphor. We drop the like or as. He was a lion. See the difference? We're not just comparing him to a lion. We are saying for that moment, he embodied all the qualities of a lion, that courage, that strength. It's so much more powerful because it forces our brain to just smash those two ideas together into one.
Okay, so moving beyond direct comparisons, we can also create these cool meanings through simple association, basically just swapping out a word for something that's really closely related to it.
This move is called metonymy. I know, it sounds a little academic, but it's really just a name swap. Instead of saying the thing you mean, you say something we all instantly associate with it. Let me show you what I mean with a few quick examples.
When you hear on the news that the Crown has issued a statement, you know it's not a literal piece of headwear that's talking, right? Of course not. The crown is the symbol that stands in for the entire royal office or the monarchy.
Ah, and this is a famous one. The pen is mightier than the sword. The pen isn't just a writing tool here. It represents the writer, ideas, and diplomacy. And the sword represents the soldier and brute force. The instrument it's standing in for the person using it.
And we do this one constantly without even thinking. You shout from the kitchen, the kettle is boiling. But you don't mean the metal pot is boiling, you mean the water inside it is. The container stands for the thing it contains. It's simple, it's efficient, and we use it all the time.
Now there's a really common special type of metonymy called synecdoche. This is a very specific move where you use just one part of something to refer to the entire thing.
Here's a perfect example. A captain back in the day wouldn't literally want 50 giant pieces of cloth. By saying sails, a really important part of a ship, he's referring to 50 whole ships, part for whole. Simple as that. Okay, on to our next toolkit. Sometimes we create an effect not by comparing or associating, but by totally playing with scale. This is all about cranking up the emotional impact by, well, stretching the truth.
First up is hyperbole. You probably know this one. It's just a big, deliberate overstatement. We use it all the time when we want to be funny or just really make a point. It's exaggeration for effect, plain and simple.
I mean, come on, she's not actually causing a natural disaster, obviously. But saying she's shedding floods of tears paints this incredibly powerful mental picture of deep, overwhelming sadness. It's way more effective than just saying she cried a lot. That's hyperbole doing its job.
And on the complete flip side, you have litotes. This is a much more subtle, kind of clever form of understatement, where you say something by negating its opposite.
This is a fantastic example. Imagine someone just finished running a marathon, and they come up to you gasping for air and say, "Yeah, it wasn't easy." They're using litotes. By saying what it wasn't, they're actually emphasizing just how unbelievably hard it really was. It's a really powerful kind of understatement.
All right, for a final section, we're going to look at some of the most indirect tools in our language kit. These are the figures of speech where what you say is actually very, very different from what you really mean.
First up, irony. This is when you say the complete opposite of what you actually feel, and you do it for a humorous or sarcastic effect. You know, you get a flat tire in a rainstorm and you say, "Oh, just a lovely day." That's irony.
And last but not least, we have euphemism. And this is such a crucial social tool. We basically use euphemisms to soften the blow, to talk about tough, unpleasant, or even taboo subjects in a much more polite and gentle way.
Just look at these examples. They make it so clear. We say someone passed away instead of just saying they died. We talk about a sanitation engineer instead of a garbage man. In every single case, the literal meaning is pretty much the same, but the feeling, the emotion those words carry, it's completely different.
So, here's the biggest takeaway from all this. These things, similes, metaphors, euphemisms, they aren't just dusty old terms for English class. They are the fundamental tools that we all use every single day to make our language more colorful, more persuasive, and just more human.
And that's really the challenge I want to leave you with. Now that you know what you're looking for, the metaphors, the little bits of hyperbole, the synectiches, what figures of speech are you going to notice out there in the world, or even in your own conversations today? Start listening for them.